Oh man, it's a long day out. I thought this was the shortest day.
It is.
Oh man.
If I set it up, then I gotta go home. Then I gotta take it all down.
You gotta tell your wife you're still alive at the end of rides like this.
At least 18 to 20 minutes, I hated every single person that I saw. And I hated my bike. And I hated the decisions that I made to come here.
A friend of mine introduced me to the Flat Tops area in Colorado, and when he invited me out there, invited our family out there, he mentioned the Flat Tops, and I did not know anything about them. I'd never heard of them. I hadn't seen them on a map. I hadn't seen them in a top 10 list of places to go in Colorado. So when we got there and we saw this place, I remember I took a picture of it, and I remember putting a photo up, and the title of the picture was, "I finally found the Colorado that I've always wanted to exist." As an outsider from the state, I always thought of Colorado as the iconic mountains with the lakes at the base of the mountain and the huge views and the rolling forest and this sense of wildness. And those parts of Colorado are out there, but you don't always find them. They're not the most obvious places. And I think when I finally saw the Flat Tops for the first time, it was so gratifying. It was almost like, I'm so glad it's really here. And my second thought was, we need to come back. We need to come back. There's some beautiful roads through here. There's this huge empty space on the map with just a ton of stuff in it, and I don't know what any of it is. And we've got to map it out. We've got to see it and find it for ourselves.
You know, every time you do one of these things, your concept of what's achievable and what's doable on the bike kind of changes a little bit.
The layout of the trip is something that I've been wanting to do on my own in some form or fashion, but didn't really have anybody else to kind of push that limit and go to that crazy space.
No one had a great idea of what we would be in for.
You know, to our knowledge, nobody had experienced those areas in the way that we did before.
Today we're going to head out a little bit west of Steamboat, kind of circle the perimeter, some of the stuff kind of northwest of the Flat Tops, and then kind of make our way right out into the heart of the Flat Tops, out to Trappers Lake. So we got a good climb, 26 miles of uphill, about 2-3% gradient the whole way. Should be on county dirt roads all the way. Should be a really nice scenic day.
What's our total distance?
84 miles. About 6,000 feet of climbing.
hardcore Nutella. This gravel is just pretty chunky, but the views just make you swoon. So just gotta put down the Nutella and keep pedaling.
And then the ride started pretty easy. It was great. Ride started easy, and then all of a sudden we ended up climbing for 912 miles, and the ride was only 86, so it was pretty hard. And there was one climb in particular, the one in the middle, that was actually I think it was 16 miles, and 14 of it was quicksand. And I think we climbed, these guys are saying that we only did 6,000 feet of climbing all day. I think we climbed 6,000 feet in that climb alone. But then I got to the descent, which I was looking forward to, because I thought, oh man, I gotta descend. This is gonna be so great to descend. And it was like 9 degrees and pouring rain, so that was really great as well. I love adventure bike riding. It's the best thing in the world.
We rode to Beaufort in about 20 minutes. Yeah.
We averaged 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, we got dropped off the back. The three of us were not really chasing, but not really catching. Then we rode uphill to lunch for a good hour. It's a good hour climb, 3,000 feet. And then we were told it rolled from there.
That was a lie.
For another 4,000 feet uphill. I think our high point was 11,375. And then from there we had dropped down another 1,000 feet. We tried to ride up the other side another 1,000 feet. We hit some mud puddles, saw some people in some buggies. They gave us the weirdest looks ever, but in the end everybody had a great time. It was pretty spectacular. Even Dusty had a good time. He was smiling the whole way.
We're at this point already?
We invited the cyclist menu to come out on the second night, and we asked them to just kind of blow our minds with a meal that would it should be something to look forward to at the end of day 2. Having Heidi and Xander there waiting for us was like a carrot on a stick.
The Community Ag Alliance was amazing to help us out source all this food. Sand County cattle. We've got innovative ag on all the pea shoots, all the kale, and the cabbage. Really cool program in Steamboat. There's a Troubled Youth program that's farming. They did all the radishes. It's pretty cool community collaboration on this food tonight.
We're at this point already?
I didn't have enough water, and so I was cracking kind of bad towards the end of that. And then finally found that creek and was able to use a filter to get some water because I was cashed.
The climb leading into wasn't totally up to the campsite. Oh God, there were some technical kind of like rock sections where you were climbing and you had to get out of the saddle, and it just totally shelled me. And I remember seeing the van with bags of Cheetos and Cokes sitting at the top of the climb, and it was just, I thought it was a mirage. It was the sweet relief of, all right, I'm gonna get a lot of salt in my system and then try to finish the day.
For me, in I think many of the other people on the ride, the high point was coincidentally the geographical high point of the ride, which was probably about 11,300 feet. And we had been rolling through these sort of series of difficult rollers for many hours through really the tops of the flat tops. But we hadn't actually found the top of the flat tops. But we came up this dirt road and the gradient was pretty rough. We were totally distracted by the wildflowers at that point, which had been good for the entire ride. Something about being up above 11,000 feet and those flowers blooming later in the year, the intensity of the palette and the number of different types of flowers was absolutely overwhelming. So we're riding up this road, these flowers are all around us, we're all super tired, and then as you crest the summit, you realize that you have just ended right on the edge of a ridge, and there's this dramatic drop that drops for, let's just say, 1,000 feet, and then the ridge extends for maybe a mile or two. And it's something I had no idea was there, and it was definitely one of the most beautiful vistas and places to ride a bike that I've been in Colorado. And I remember I always have this feeling whenever I see something new, and I think, why did nobody tell me this was here? Why don't I already know that this was here? How could this not be something that other people are already talking about? But Blair Mountain was just such a highlight, and you know, part of the group was way ahead, but part of the group just got to the top of this mountain. We knew we were at the tallest part of the entire ride, and we just sat there and soaked it in for somewhere between 15 minutes and a half hour. We just enjoyed, I think, the sense of achievement that we had gotten all the way up into the middle of this place on our own power. And then we were rewarded with this view. I flew my camera out into the unknown of it and looked around just from the air and had a little bit more context of the scale of the place that we were in. I just couldn't believe we did what we wanted to do. We found a place that was worth sharing, and now we're here and we're going to bring this back for other people. It was really cool.
It was cool that the trip ended on a real high note, you know, for me, because that's exactly what I like to do on day 3. Like, you know, but looking back, if there would have been 3 days like day 3, then the trip really wouldn't have had a lot of hair on it, and I wouldn't have looked back on it and said, wow, that was really something crazy, cool, and super special.
Day 3, we're here, we made it. We're gonna drop down out Deep Lake, down Coffee Pot Road. We're about 20-some miles, lost about 4,000 feet. Hit Colorado River Road, just north of Dot Zero, and take that up towards Burns. Then we're gonna get on some B Road gravel stuff, go behind King Mountain, and up in South Route County. From there we'll make some of the side roads back in the steamboat. 109 miles, hopefully we're there before dinner.
One of the more interesting experiences of the ride for me was the rest stop on day 3. Okay, so it was a hot day anyway. I don't know if you remember, and well, of course you remember. You were on the ride, and it was like, you know, crazy hot, and the van stopped on the side of the road. And there was no shade anywhere, so everybody was kind of already just like wiped out, and then the van stopped for a little while, and we had a rest there, like right in the sun on the side of the road.
Day 3 was really cool because we started somewhere above 10,000 feet at the campground in these green rolling fields. Then we descended for 30 miles non-stop, and then at the bottom we ended up in essentially a mini Grand Canyon, and it blew my mind. Colorado's so funny, it can just do this to you, where you're 1 minute in one ecosystem, and then the next minute something that seems so different. We went from lush green mountains to desert canyons with the Colorado River carving through them.
I don't know, I think for me personally, I've been I've been really thinking about what kind of riding I want to do, and I don't think every ride can be like the Roundup. But that kind of ride, I guess it's definitely a sense of adventure.
Just knowing that you earned your way there, it makes it something special that in the moment seems dicey and seems sketchy, but it's what keeps you coming back.
That's what's really interesting about this style of riding, is that everybody has such a diverse background in what drives them in their passion for riding.
I think any one of the 25 people that did this ride, there's some kind of niche in their brain that makes them enjoy things like that, and it's why you don't see most people doing rides like that. I think there's a sense of camaraderie to it too. But yeah, like everybody out there was to some extent a sick person. And we'll probably see him again next year.
Fitz, how'd it go out there for you?
I think we did it. I think we pushed everyone, and we milked it. We just did a loop around a mountain range. I'm worked. I'm just worked, but in the best way.
Have you guys ever seen the outtakes from that, when they put like together the weirdest shit from it? Oh my god.
SD card them. Well, the good news is if it crashes, we only have like a 4,000 foot rappel.
I see that, man. I got coke on my mind.
We could call in an airdrop. Just a parachute of coke.
So the lesson learned for today is, if it looks like a cliff on the elevation profile, it's probably a cliff.
Mackerel.
It's been really boring to finish a 1-8.
Broke 2 chains today.
Just sticking to the route.
Yeah, I thought you would.
And
Your headset on that.
2 different bikes.
And I ended up. And Remy and I were having good fun trying to do tail whips on a cross bike.
This is why everyone wore mountain bike shoes.
Look left. It's like NASCAR.
And then unloaded the entire van, took a seat out of the van, and then loaded 724,000 pounds of bags and beer and food and Gatorade and water and toilet paper into the van. And it was real easy.
Seems like it rained a bit. Yeah. Pretty